No, I'm sure some fighters would like to make their UFC debut with a full camp and everything. But for you, is this like outside of getting a top 15 fighter right away? This has to be just best case scenario for you, right?
Oh, without a doubt, this is the biggest opportunity I could possibly get for my debut. There's already a built-in narrative with it, and I get to fight on a pay-per-view, open up the prelims against a very hyped opponent who has a lot of support. I'm coming in with just as much support from Australia, so I'm very keen to go out there Sunday and sort of fulfill my debut in the way I didn't envision it, but it's happened to turn out a lot better than I've actually could have envisioned it.
Outside of like the big name and everything, is it almost like, you get a opponent 9 weeks out. You just think about that guy all the time. You have to do media about him. But now you get the short notice one. You don't really have time to think about it. You just have the big name in front of you. You don't have to do as much media until fight week. Has that played a factor into like this just being kind of a best case scenario?
I think so. I do enjoy doing the media and everything like that, but it's just been a whirlwind of 2 weeks. So I got the notice on Saturday, like a week and a half ago now, and it's just been crazy. It's just been chaotic. It's been everything I've wanted because I'm just staying very present and just enjoying every moment here.
Have you and the team kind of steered into that narrative of, Team Topuria versus Team Volkanovski? Do you guys like that, or is it just like, something for the fans to latch onto?
I like it in a sense, as you said, it brings the fans and the attention eyes to it. But at the end of the day, I got a job to do come Sunday. I got to go out there, get my hand raised by whichever means possible, and that's what I'm going to do.
And I think I saw a video of it where you've basically peaked for like the last 4 weeks. You felt like, so I guess how has camp been preparing for a guy on such short notice?
Oh, camp's been fine. Camp's been usual. I'm always fit. I'm always ready to go. So it's very good because we knew something might happen, and me being the number one bantamweight in Australia, if someone was to fall out, I'd get this late notice call up, and here we are.
And what do you make of, his skill set as a whole? Because obviously his brother, a lot of people say, is like this perfect fighter, possibly fighter of the year last year. Do you see much of him in his brother, or are they just two completely different guys?
He's definitely got the same sort of style because they've trained together, but he's not his brother, and I'm going to go out there on Sunday and show it. He hasn't really beaten anybody noticeable. His opponent's combined records isn't that great, so I think come Sunday I get to go out and show out against him.
Have your, usually when you get guys like from they're fighting Russians or Georgians or Spaniards or anything, their social media just gets flooded with like DMs and everything. Has that been the case for you? Have you got a lot of hate from Spain and Georgia?
I've got a fair bit of hate, but I like it. It's all engagement at the end of the day. But to be fair, I've got a bit of love in that too, so I can't say it's bad. All engagement is good for me, so I bring it all in and just use all the energy.
And I think not a lot of people realize that you were a pretty prolific Reddit poster for a long time. When you got this fight, Reddit was just like, oh, one of us is in the UFC now. So I guess how's the online response been to like, lurking on Reddit to now fighting on a massive UFC card?
Oh, it's crazy, bro. It's sick. It's unreal. So it's just even everything with like I've had people reach out, like I haven't spoke to them in primary school and stuff like that. So it's just been like crazy to see how much this is all taken off. And like I said before, I couldn't picture my debut to go any more perfectly.
And Colby, to your left. Can you talk about, I mean, you mentioned it before, but can you talk about exactly where you were when you found out about this fight and who contacted you about it to get it going?
Yeah, so I was in my car working a security shift, listening to the Hottest 100, upset with what came number one. And then I got an Instagram message, which I thought was from a fake account because they had lots of followers and a blue tick. And it said, hey, how are you? But it actually turned out it was an opportunity of a lifetime. It was Ilia's manager. And then he gave me a WhatsApp call. I spoke to Joe and Volk. And then 12 hours later, I was like, hey, it's pretty much a done deal. Let's go.
And you talk about Volk. The whole story has been about Volk. He's been pushing you for years. Is there a bit of pressure there? Like you don't want to almost let him down because everyone in Australia is basically, in a way, vouched for you?
There is pressure, but pressure is a privilege. And I think I just can use all of that as fuel. And he's backing me because he knows the level and the ability I have. So he wouldn't be backing me if he didn't believe in me. Same with everybody else who backs me. So come Sunday, I get to go out and show the ability and my level that I'm at.
And finally, it's a one-fight deal. So even if you win the fight, but it's a boring style type thing, you might just kind of never come back to the UFC. Is there pressure to not just win but put on a show?
To be honest, I'm actually not exactly sure how the contract works out. I'm a fighter, so I'm not smart enough to understand it all. So I think there's something in there. If I win, they still get me.
That's right.
Hey, Colby. Great moves yesterday, by the way.
My man, thank you.
You said you spoke to Joe and Volk when you got offered that contract. Was there a voice in the back of your mind that was worried Volk might steal it because he loves a late-minute call-up?
I was very worried. Lucky it's at 135, so I knew he couldn't make it.
And a lot of the guys coming through today have had moustaches. Colin says his is a strength. Sean just liked the look of his. What's the story behind yours?
Mate, this is 25 years of hard work. So we have Movember, and I had to start it 25 years ago, and hopefully in probably 2 years' time, it'll actually be worth something.
Hey, it looks good, brother.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
I think it's going to be a very interesting fight. I think whoever can mix it up the best is going to win. Obviously, the last one came down to a split decision. I think Drickes has more ways to win, mixing up his wrestling, his grappling, everything, but you can't really count out Strickland because you've seen what he's done to most of the people put in front of him. So if I had to pick, I'd go Drickes, but it's not a very confident pick.
Colby back here. You're a man who's been in the UFC's orbit for quite a bit of time. Is this everything you had imagined it to be? How are you finding your first fight week in the UFC?
It's pretty sick, to be honest. Like, there's heaps of people here, heaps of cameras. I get to just talk about what I love to do, so I've got no complaints of any of this.
Thank you.
How you going, Colby?
Mate.
So making your UFC debut, you're going to get exposed to a lot more fans, a lot more eyeballs around the world. If there's one thing you'd like everyone to know about you that maybe they don't know yet, what would that be? I'm sorry for the existential question.
That's a good question. I won't go too deep with it. I think that I don't think there's anything. I'm very open and I'm very authentically myself with everything I do. So I think when people see me, they get a glimpse into who I am. And that's reflected in my fighting style, in my training, in everything I do in life. I'm just a very hard-working, driven individual. I have goals. I'm just going to put in the work until I achieve them. Simple as that.
Thank you, mate.
Is that everyone? Legends. Thank you.